I was contacted by a company called Campark recently and asked if I would review one of their products. I decided to review this product. It's the T200 digital trail camera. It's got a 30 megapixel sensor capable of recording 4K video at 30 frames per second. It comes with a solar power bank, so you can run it without batteries, but you can also add batteries to give it a bit of longevity. It's got built-in infrared and Wi-Fi. It's IP66 rated, so it's waterproof. I occasionally get asked to review trail cameras and don't bother, but I was intrigued by this and decided I would have a look at it and see what it was like. Before I get into the review, I'm going to show you some of the clips that I recorded over one night. And I'm very impressed with the video quality. Now, these videos are a lot longer than you're seeing here. I've edited them just to give you the best bits on the videos, but as you can see, it is very good video quality. Now, the microphone is actually on the camera, but there is no sound that I can hear from the video at all. So a little bit later on, I'm going to actually do a microphone test, and you'll see that the microphone is not much use. But we see these deer sometime in the garden. We had no idea there was so much activity, and this deer is obviously injured, and for several weeks now we've been watching a pair of eyes bouncing up and down at the bottom of the garden and wondering what it was. And it's obviously this injured deer. Hopefully it will get better soon. And then this is the last clip of deer running across the same piece of land in the garden, and I just thought this was quite interesting because you can see one of them springing across and the other one just moseying on down. But as you can see, it is a very capable camera, and this is set on the medium PIR setting for sensitivity. Now, this next clip is where I show you the microphone test, or I try to test a microphone, but as you can see, there is absolutely no voice coming through that at all, but you can tell that the microphone is switched on when I pick the camera up. So basically the microphone is virtually useless for normal use. And then last but by no means least, I recorded a time lapse using the camera with a 10-second interval. Now you'll notice it's not the 16:9 aspect ratio, which is a little bit annoying, and also it does not make the movie. You've actually got to stitch the photos together with some editing software, so you cannot just record a time lapse. You've got to download the photographs and create the time lapse. This is the packaging. So inside the box we've got the camera with the solar panel fitted, two sets of instructions, one for the camera, one for the solar panel. We've got two power supplies, they're both 12 volt 1 amp. One of them has got a European connection, the other one is a British connection, 3-pin plug there. This flexible cable connects the solar panel to the camera. There is a USB to USB mini A cable, a mounting strap, and then an adjustable mounting bracket with screws. The first thing worth noting is that the solar pack detaches from the camera. So there's a little button at the back there, you just press that down and it pulls out. So looking at the front of the camera, we've got 3 LEDs there. There are 2 light coloured ones and a dark one in the middle. The left hand side one is called the side indicator. I'll find out a little bit later on what that does. And then the one in the middle is the system indicator, and the one on the right is a main indicator. And then below that we've got the camera, that's the lens, 3 infrared sensors, and in there we've got all the IR LEDs for night vision. So looking at the back of the camera, you can see that there are attachments there to allow you to connect the belt. These are obviously to keep the camera vertical to whatever it is it's mounted against. So if we look at this side, you can see that there is a system here to allow you to lock the camera. Nothing really to show you on the other side. On the top there you can see the socket where the solar power bank fits, and then on the bottom this is a DC inlet socket, and that is for the solar power bank. There is a battery compartment, and I'll demonstrate that a little bit later, and then a tripod mount. If we look at the solar power bank, that obviously is a solar panel. That's the plug that goes into the socket on the top of the camera, and this is a little release mechanism. On this side of the power bank we've got a DC in socket, a DC out socket, and this is a little LED, a charging indicator for the power bank. So once we open up the compartment and look inside the camera, you can see there are 38 850 nanometer IR LEDs, which is quite a large number, so I'm hoping that it'll be quite good infrared. You can see the 3 LEDs there. There's a 2.4 inch LCD screen, and then we've got several buttons. We've got up, down, left, right, OK, menu, Got a three-way toggle switch there, which is off, setup and on. Then on the bottom you can see we've got a microphone, the USB socket and the DC inlet socket. Now it's worth noting, if you've got a DC cable plugged in, you cannot open the front cover. You have to disconnect the cable before you can open the cover, because it just goes through, look. On the side we've got audio visual out, a speaker and the SD card slot, and this comes fitted with a 32GB SD card. So even though it's delivered with a 32GB SD card, I'm going to fit my own. It should be class 10 or higher, but I recommend if you're recording in 4K you need a U3 memory card. And you can see the U3 just there next to the A2. So that's how you can tell what type of card it is. I'm going to insert it in the adapter, which changes it from a micro SD card into an SD card. You flip it upside down to push it into the camera and it clicks in place. So I like the way the battery compartment is designed. If you press the battery ejection button there, then the battery compartment just flips out like so. And you can see there's enough room there for 8 AA batteries. Now they're not supplied, but I've got 8 batteries, so I'm going to fit them now. I've got to say that is one of the easiest battery compartments I've come across. That is very, very easy to load and unload the batteries. So next I'm going to charge the solar power bank. So there's the DC in. I'll pull up that tab and insert the power supply. As you can see, there is a red LED in there. So that's saying that the power bank is now on charge. So the LED turns off when it's fully charged. So I've removed the battery pack because I want to show you that this camera will actually run directly off the solar power bank. So the battery pack has been removed. I've connected the solar power bank. It goes in the DC out and then plugs into the bottom there, and I'm going to turn it onto standby, which should start the LCD screen. There we go. So I did a bit of number crunching, and the power pack capacity is about half the capacity of the 8 AA batteries, assuming that the 8 AA batteries are reasonably normal when it comes to their milliamp hour output. So if we look at the side of the camera there, you can see the three-way toggle switch. Now off is what it says. The camera is completely off. It won't do anything. When it goes on to setup, it will actually light up the LCD screen and you can change the menu functions on it. The PIR detectors will work, but they won't do anything. And then when you slide it up to on, it turns the LCD screen off, and then it turns the PIRs on, and the camera will do what you've actually programmed it to do. So either take photographs or record video whenever it detects movement. So I'm going to actually slide that up to setup, and it should turn on the LCD screen. Now you can see it says memory card error, and that is because the memory card isn't formatted. This is not very intuitive, but if you press the menu the first time, it goes onto video. Keep pressing it, it goes onto camera, so it takes photographs. Press it again, and it goes onto the setup. Now, the first thing that I am going to do is format the memory card. So in order to do that, I'm going to press the down button on the menu. There we've got format. I'm going to press OK. It's telling me that all the data will be deleted, and I'll select OK. Now you can see just from that the menu system is pretty easy. It's one of the easiest ones I've seen to use. Now the formatting was very weird. It went through the process and it said please wait, and it was stuck there for, I don't know, about 2 or 3 minutes, and then the screen just went blank. So I turned it off and back on again, and it would appear that the card is formatted, which is a little bit weird. See, we're set for video, now we're set for photo. Now it's actually gone onto the viewing page, so you can actually look at images and video that you've recorded, and if we press it again, it takes it onto the menu. So when it's opened up, it's on photo mode. Now I don't want photo mode, I want it on video, so if I click OK, it brings up the menu, the down arrow takes it to video, and then I click OK again, and you'll see that we've switched over onto video mode. Now the next one down is the image size, which is 30 megapixels, which is what I want, so I'm not going to change that. But if I did want to change it, you click on OK. It brings up the various options, and you can see we've got lots of options there to choose from. It just goes round in an endless scroll, so you can keep pressing down until you come back to 30 and press OK again. The resolution I am going to change because I actually want 4K. So if I click on OK, and you can go up there to 4K 30 frames per second and select OK. So as you can see, this is so easy to use, the menu, and you can see what page you're on at the top there. Yes, I'll leave them on. So I'm going to set up the date and time. And again, this is so easy. It's very simple to set this camera up, and I'm impressed with that. Right, so I've gone through the menu, set everything up how I wanted to. You can see now that I'm set up on 4K 30 frames per second. And what I'm going to do now is switch the camera on. So the screen will go off. It gives you a 5-second countdown. And then now the camera is now ready to start recording. You can also control this camera using an app, which is a really good feature. So in the instruction manual, you can see we've got some QR codes there. As you can see, my phone's detected the app. I'll click on that. Hunt in 4K if the QR code doesn't work. So when you open up the app, it asks you to allow Bluetooth. And you must make sure that when you go through the menu on the camera itself that you have Bluetooth turned on, which I have. So I'm going to allow that to use Bluetooth. So I've got to make sure that the camera is near the phone. The camera is switched on. Then I'm going to select turn on Bluetooth. So now it's scanning and it's found the camera already. Look, straight away. So I'm going to click on the camera. Now it's saying it's connecting. I'm going to turn on Wi-Fi. I've got to go into the phone menu and select the Wi-Fi for the camera. And as you can see, there's a camera there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And of course you can change all this. Open up the app and click the plus sign. It's given me a tick. And as you can see, we're connected to the camera. This allows us to change the different modes, and also you can go in there and change all the settings on the camera as well, which is so easy. That just means that you can place the camera out and about, connect up to the Wi-Fi by going through that process, and then adjust the camera without having to move it. I think that's absolutely brilliant. Well, hopefully I've given you a reasonable overview of the camera and shown you the video quality. I personally think the 4K video is pretty good. I'm quite impressed with the camera. I love the fact that it's got a solar powered power bank. That is really handy. And the instructions are pretty simple, but there are big glaring gaps in there. For example, I never figured out what the 3 LEDs on the top were for. And I just wish that manufacturers would spend some more time generating the instructions and making them so that people can actually work out how their products work. Saying that, it is pretty simple to use, and I think I demonstrated that in the video. So I really like this camera. I am glad they asked me to review it. I hope you found this review useful. Thank you very much for watching, and please take care.